Hey, good afternoon, right? Yes, good afternoon. Hey, we're going to make this real brief. We're going to be in and out of here in an hour. I'm going to talk a little bit, then Jeannie's going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to get out of here. So you know that the weather's not supposed to be real good all evening. It's cold out, it's Christmas time, everybody's got something to do. But we just felt like this was important enough that we needed to get as many people as we could together just to talk about guest services in general and where we want to go, and then also talk about Christmas and how we're going to go through the Christmas season, things we want to do, and the way we want to go about that as well. So hopefully we'll be in and out of here in 60 minutes, and you guys can go on and get home before the weather starts turning bad. Before we get started, though, I just wanted to recognize Jeannie and the volunteers that came out last week to help decorate the church for Christmas. All the trees and the decorations look so nice. And I know there's quite a few of you here in the room that spent a lot of hours doing that, and it really is appreciated. And I know the people who come in through the doors on the weekends, they appreciate it as well. So thanks for you guys that took all the time to do that. What I wanted to do real quickly is go through and introduce some people. Most of you that are in guest services or on the guest services team, you all probably know the people I'm going to introduce, but if there's anyone here that's maybe here for the first time, they've signed up for the Christmas weekend or something, maybe you don't know the faces and the names. So just real quickly, I'm going to go around. Jeannie Moore, she is Pastor Jeannie Moore. She is the kind of the leader for all guest services. The guest services doesn't include just hospitality, not just the people who give out the programs and things like that, but it's the hospitality group. It's also the welcome desk up here at the front as you come in, the bookstore, the parking team is under that same umbrella, the prayer team, the village, and the campus guides. Those are all under the guest services umbrella. So it's a lot of volunteers that Jeannie oversees, and she has a lot of help from Denny and Michael. They put in a lot of time with the scheduling and putting the people in the right places over the weekends and just things like that. So the whole campus guides, the welcome desk, the village, the prayer team, I mean, all that is very inclusive, and it involves a lot of people, takes a lot of time, but at the same time, we all want to work as one team, and that's why we're under that one umbrella. What we're going to do today, we have some door prizes, and Michael, this is Michael Miller over here. Stand up, Michael. Michael Miller, on my command, is going to give out door prizes to the people.
Out of his wallet.
Out of his wallet. No, that's not it at all. He's going to be giving out some door prizes. But I also wanted to introduce Debbie Lindsay. Debbie's back there. She's the head of our village. Most of you know her. Denny Morris is working our camera today. He, of course, has been on the guest services team for some time. Always helps out on the weekends. Debbie Lindsay, we said her. Pam, she's not here. Pam Zemer's not here. Pam Drake's not here. Who am I missing?
Can you tell what they're over?
Pam Drake is in the bookstore, of course. Pam Zemer is the head of the prayer team. She's the prayer team leader there. And did I forget anybody, Denny? No, I think that's all. Did I forget anybody? Me? I'm just Jeannie's husband.
Just Jeannie's husband.
All right, let's get going.
And he's from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm from the Bronx.
Brooklyn.
Oh, the Brooklyn. That's right. I forgot where I was from. The sign up there, irresistible environment equals irresistible experience. What does that mean to anybody? Anybody have an idea? What comes to mind when you read those four words? Anybody have anything? World-class service. What's that? And with God involved? Okay. Who else?
Keeps you coming back.
Keeps you coming back? All right. Michael, give those 3 people little prizes, please. No, just don't give that one to Phyllis, though. Scott back there. Over the past couple of years, Jeannie and I have been able to travel to different parts of the country to observe different mega churches, how they operate, how their guest services people do things. And we've gleaned some information, some things from each one of those churches that we've visited, some things that we think might translate well and work well here at the Vineyard. We've been to the north side of Chicago, to a church there. We have been to 2 different Andy Stanley churches in the Atlanta area, and Jeannie has gone to Saddleback in Los Angeles. And each one of those churches have their own specific things that they do that works well for them. But some of those things we look at and we think, that would work well, back at our home church. And so we have tried to gradually implement some of those things here over the last year and a half. We've also been reading different books, watching different videos, and listening to speeches made by people that we think could also influence a little bit of what we do. Andy Stanley, he is the pastor at North Point Church in Atlanta. Just a little church, there's only about 24,000, I think, goes to that church. And he also wrote a book, I don't have it out here with me, but it's called Deep and Wide. And it's just a great book to read if you do what we do. He goes in and he talks about how their church does guest services and what's important to him and what he sees. And Andy Stanley is, I think, before his time. I mean, he knows how to relate to customers. He knows how to avoid barriers that would keep them from not coming back, keep them from coming back the next time, not coming back. And he's just very good at that. Tom Staggs, we're reading his book now. He's the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, and they have a couple of parks you've probably heard of, Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And he co-wrote the book titled Be Our Guest. And we're just about, maybe halfway through that book right now. But him too, even though it's not a church environment, he is all about the customers. He's all about making sure they have the best experience they can when they come to Disneyland or when they come to Disney World. And he's got, again, he's taken the Walt Disney approach and really enhanced it. And it's just a good book, and we're learning a lot from it. Last summer, Jeannie and I went and had the opportunity to listen to S. Truett Cathy, who is the founder and chairman of the Chick-fil-A restaurants. And they too have the same mentality about customer service as the other 2 do, but theirs is in a restaurant setting. But the common thread is that all of them put the guest first, and they want to have the guest have just a great experience while they're there. And that's why we have kind of coined this little phrase, irresistible environment equals irresistible experience. And obviously what that means is if they come into our church and they have a really good environment around them, they see customer service or guest services, people smiling, talkative, friendly, things like that, they're going to remember that and they're going to have a good experience. And they're more likely to come back. And that, of course, is what we're trying to do. So each one of these men shared and believed in something very similar, something they felt was crucial to their vision and their mission. And they knew how to treat their guests. And again, they want them to come back, not just a second time, but a third and fourth and fifth time. And that's what we want to do here at the church. So irresistible environment equals irresistible experience. everybody ingrain that in your mind, because from this day forward, that is going to be our motto, if you will. That is what we're going to strive for. That's what we want to achieve every Saturday night, every Sunday morning. That's what we're really trying to do. We want to create some magic here. We've had a group of individuals that's been on our guest services team some for many years, and some for many months, and then some for a few weeks. Some started this weekend. Some don't start until Christmas weekend. So the thing is, we want to get everybody on the same page. We want everybody thinking in the same direction about what we want our group to do. And again, it's not just the people that hand out the programs, it's not the people that open up the front door, it's also the people work in the village, people work in the bookstore, the prayer team, every department. We are going to put together a parking team again, and that parking team is really the first impression that someone in our church gets as they come on our property. If that parking team member sits there and just kind of looks in the, like in the headlights, it's not a great first impression. But if they're friendly and they're smiling, that's their first impression those people are going to get, and it's going to be, probably a good one. So that's the kind of thing we want to do. For years, Vineyard Community Church has kind of been a forerunner, at least on the south side of Indianapolis, maybe in Indianapolis. You remember back, we used to have free donuts, remember, in the free coffee when we were up at the other place? And we were one of the first churches to do that. And now other churches do that because it was a good idea and because it caught on. We were one of the first churches to have a live Christian rock band that played Christian music in a loud manner. And now other churches do the same thing. Now, I still think our church is the best, our musicians are the best, but other churches are still doing it. And so the things that we've done have been good, but other teams and other churches have kind of caught on to that. So our vision and our mission here at the church, it's still as it was back in 1993 when we started. The vision and the mission hasn't changed. But as a church, we always want to kind of stay on the cutting edge. So we want to be a forerunner. We want to be able to create wow moments when people come through the front door. And whether they're old, current guests, or whether they're brand new guests, we want them to have a wow moment every time they come. We want people to know when they come through the front door here that they're going to have friendly people greet them. They're going to have friendly people giving them programs. They're going to have friendly people back in the village when they go order anything. They're just going to have, friendly people. And that's the whole goal. The model that we want to follow is really very similar to the models in place at North Point, at Disney World, at Disneyland, and Chick-fil-A. Those people get it. They really have put it together. They understand what it's all about. And as volunteers here, we want to be a team, and Jeannie and I have kind of created or coined another phrase. We kind of want to be a cast, because we're all in this production for a weekend production. We have a Saturday night show, and we've got a Sunday show, and we all want to be a cast and a closely knit cast. And that's the atmosphere we would like to create each and every weekend, so we can make a wow moment for everybody that comes in the front door. We don't want a grumpy cast necessarily. We'd like to have smiling faces and people that are friendly. And it makes a big difference when if you're standing at the door giving out programs, someone comes in, you just hand them a program. Or if you smile, say, hey, how's your day going? How's your friends doing? Just conversation, questions, pat on the back, makes a big difference. And so again, that's what we are trying to achieve as a guest services cast, is to create a more welcome atmosphere here. As a church, the thing that we're really trying to do, which maybe no one else around is doing as well as us, we're trying to reach the unchurched people of our area. Numbers vary, but some of the things that I've read is that 1 out of 3 people in our area is unchurched. And the definition that we use as unchurched is someone who hasn't been going to church on a regular basis for the last 5 years. You know, maybe they're a creaster, maybe they go to Christmas and Easter, but they don't really attend church on a regular basis. And that's our definition of an unchurched person, is someone who hasn't gone to church on a regular basis in the last 5 years. So we want to continue to be a forerunner, and one of the things we want to do is really pinpoint those unchurched people. We want those people to come to our church and have a good experience. How are we going to do that? Somebody said it.
Irresistible environment, irresistible experience.
Where's Michael? I can hear him the best. Anyone?
We heard you.
When we have an individual or a family show up at our church on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and they haven't been to a church for months or years or forever, what can we do to make them feel more welcome, more at ease, more relaxed? There's a whole science about things that pastors do and don't do when their church has a lot of unchurched people in there. Unchurched people, quite frankly, they can be scared away. If you say something that overwhelms them, if there's too many spiritual items within the church, sometimes those kind of things can scare them away. So what we want to do as a church is to avoid any of the barriers that would make those people not come back again the second time or the third time. Our guest services volunteers or cast members, we're leaders. Each one of you has chosen to take the step up. So as leaders, no longer are we being served, but now we're serving. We're not, we are guests and we are members in our own church, but we've taken that step. We've elected to take that step up. And now we are serving others. We're giving out programs. We're serving drinks and snacks. We're doing, whatever, selling books in the bookstores or sweatshirts. But we've kind of taken a different approach now because we've taken the step up. So no longer are we being served, but we are serving. And serving, it's not a have to. You don't have to be here. You have to look at it differently. It's a get to. And you get to serve. There are people here that haven't realized that maybe, and they're not on our guest services team or our cast right now. Someday they will maybe, that it's a get to. We get to serve other people. And, to me, that's just, that makes all the difference in the world. And so I hope that you're not here being a member of our guest services because you feel like you have to be or you need to be. I want you to feel it. I want you to be joyful that you get to serve. I think that's the important thing that we need to kind of keep in our mind. We really want to be the church that unchurched people love to attend. We want unchurched people to love to be here and they want to come back. And we do that, primarily by, like I say, flashing a big smile when you greet a guest at the door and give them a program. And again, if you're just standing at the door and you're kind of looking over talking to the one next to you, the person at the next door, and you're just handing out, that's, you're doing your job, but you're not doing it as well as you could. And you're not creating a wow moment. We want to create wow moments. And nothing, I think, personally, a smile is the number one thing. And because it's just so much different when you go into a cashier at a gas station, or you go into a cashier at a department store, or a waitress on. If they're smiling, it's totally different. And if they come with a grumpy face, you just don't get that same wow moment. And I guess the thing that is there is that when you do something, when you do serve, that we're serving because we genuinely want to do that. Again, not because we have to. And if you think about it for a minute, if you're a part of our customer service team and you go into the office on Monday morning and you begin to give some subtle brags about how many hours you put in at the church over the weekend or how much you did, at the church. If you're about to throw your arm out of the socket by patting yourself on the back, then you're probably serving for the wrong reasons. I had 2 or 3 funny, no, I'm going to call them jokes. I had 2 or 3 funny things. I'm going to pass those though, because they're for time. We're running long on time. I know that, but I just want to make sure you're all serving for the right reasons. As cast members, as leaders, we've stepped up by volunteering, and as I said, because of that, we are no longer here to be served, but we're here to serve, and that's what it's all about: serving others. Serving others as a cast member here means being able to give out simple directions. If you're in the auditorium or outside in the hallway there, and someone comes up and asks you a question, you want to be able to give them simple instructions about where the restroom is or something of that nature. What we would like to start doing, if you're working one of the doors and someone comes up and asks you where something is, instead of just pointing down the hallway and saying the 3rd door on the left, we're going to ask that you call me, call Michael, call Jeannie, call Denny, and we're going to walk them down there and show where it is. We think that's a step up. We want to give them more attention than just pointing them down the hallway. And that's even as simple as, if some guy asks where the men's restroom is, we're going to walk him down there and show him where it is. I just think that's a little bit better way to do things. We should be able to answer simple questions. Again, being friendly, being smiling, even anticipating guest needs. If you see a guest and they got a cup in their hand and they're just kind of looking around, anticipate they need a trash can. And maybe go up to them, take it from them, throw it away yourself, or at least say, over there's the trash can. Kind of anticipate what we can do to make their stay a little bit nicer. If you're manning a post, if you have a balcony, if you have one of the doors, really work hard on staying there. I've done it too. Sometimes it gets slow and you wander over to another door and you start talking. I'll go over and talk to Will and say, Will, what are you doing, man? And then someone goes up my balcony stairs and I miss them. Well, I've lost a chance to make a good first impression. And so I know it's you come here and you have all your friends here, all your church families here, and it's real easy to walk away and start a conversation, but try and stay as close as you can to your post, just because we don't want to lose an opportunity to have a wow moment. Okay? We want to treat every guest as an MVP. We want to remove every barrier that we can so they have no reason not to come back here again. Andy Stanley, in the book that we read, I'm going to tell him a short story about Andy Stanley. Him and his wife were just going around from church to church at one time when their son was very young. And they went to one church, and they went down to the children's area to drop their son off so they could go up and listen to the message. And they got there, and the person that greeted them in the kids' church area was, they weren't dressed very well. They didn't have a real good dress, and there was a door at the back of the room. It was open out to an open area, like a kid could just walk out there and walk away kind of a thing. And they got such a bad first impression of that children's area. Even though they left their son there, they went upstairs, they started listening to the pastor in the service message, and they were in there about 5 minutes, and they kind of looked at each other, and they just said, I don't feel comfortable about that. Do you? And they went, no, I don't. So they went back downstairs, got their son, they left. And the church now has a very good reputation, but every time now that they hear that church, the one thing they remember is how bad they felt like the children's church was. That's what they remember about that church. Even though the church does a lot of other good things, that's what they remember. So we don't want to be in a position where someone remembers the Vineyard Community Church as someone who has a grumpy program giver outer. or something of that nature. So that's the kind of thing we want to avoid. We want to remove all the barriers so people will come back. Trying to read down my notes here so I can kind of go a little quicker. Everyone here is either a current cast member or someone who has signed on to be a cast member this Christmas. There are some things that we'd like to share with everyone about how to serve here at the Vineyard, things we'd like to see. And pay attention, because we'll have a door prize at the end. If you are a greeter, if you are on the customer service list of people to work on the weekends, we would like for you to be here 45 minutes before your scheduled time. So if church starts at 9:30, if you're on the first shift on Sunday morning, let's say, we'd like for you to be here at 8:45. We'd like for you to go into room 209, get your name tags, check any messages we might have in there, any information that might be useful as you talk to guests as they come through the doors. We'll post things in there that might be useful for you to know and questions you might be asked. So if you can get here 45 minutes, that's great. Then be out here in the hallway 30 minutes prior, because that's when we generally open the doors, is 30 minutes prior to the church service time. Okay? That's number one. Number two, please be aware of your appearance and hygiene. Most people think, well, yeah, but there are, some people that don't make that a priority. And so always be aware of your hygiene and your appearance. And again, remember, impressions matter, and we want to remove barriers. Number three, of course, report to room 209, get your name tag, check the boards, like we said, that's number three. Number four, usually Michael is the one that will assign you to whatever door, post, balcony, wherever for that day. Michael will set you in the right direction. If he is not here, it'll be me or Jeannie or Denny. One of us will be here to kind of get everybody in the right positions. Number five, please, if you're on the schedule to work, please show up. We count on you being here, and no-shows really cause us a headache. If we know we need 13 volunteers, and there's 13 names on the list, and we get here, and 4 people don't show up, it's really a pain. Jeannie has put her telephone number and her email address over here. It's better if you do have a problem, if you can email her or text her. That way we have a written document. If she's out driving around and gets a phone call sometimes, by the time she gets home we can write it down. She's forgotten all the information. So a text or an email is the best. But if you put your name on there, if you're on the rotation, if you have on the schedule, please try to be here. It's 1 hour, and if you can, I know everybody has busy lives, but if you have other things going on, if you can schedule around the time that you're supposed to be here, it'll really help us out. Because like I say, the worst thing that can happen is, we had a good example of that last night. On the paper, we had enough people, but we did not have enough people for offering and handing out programs last night. Michael had to chip in, Denny had to chip in, I had to chip in, Jeannie was working. We just did not have enough, although on paper, it looked like we had plenty. But I don't know if it was cold or people had Christmas parties, whatever the case may be. We just didn't have enough to really do the job that we want to do. And again, if we don't have all the doors covered and those kind of things, it's a bad first impression. People think, well, they weren't even ready for me. If they're the first time here, they think, gosh, why should I come back here? They don't even want anybody new. They don't care enough. So please, let us know if you can't be, but try your very, very best to be here. That's number 5. Number 6 was really, if you know something's up, to give Jeannie a text or an email. And number 7, we've had a tremendous amount of feedback about our new shirts. Other departments in the church now are doing the same thing. Kids Zone now has their shirt. And I know that the tech team upstairs, they are on that same path. They may get shirts of their own. So the shirts have gone over really well. And did we have some people that didn't want to wear the shirts originally? Yeah, we did. We really did. Andy Stanley says in his new book that new ideas are generally considered bad ideas. Why is that? Because people don't like change. People don't like change. So new ideas are generally considered bad ideas. People don't like to be put out of their comfort zone. But we have to remember, again, we're not here about us. We're about here to those that we are serving. And so it's no longer about us. The shirts were designed to serve a purpose. We want to help new guests identify people they can come to and trust. I mean, every weekend we see evidence of that. Last weekend or 2 weekends ago, Jeannie's walking downstairs in the hallway, and because she has her shirt on, someone stops and asks her a question. Today, out here at the front door, we had a gentleman, first time here. Jonathan Bricker went up to talk to him, and Jonathan had on a regular shirt, and the guy was offended that Jonathan was asking questions, because he didn't know who Jonathan was. I walk up with my shirt, and he's my best friend now. So it's not because I'm a nicer guy than Jonathan, it's just that I had a shirt on and Jonathan didn't. And so the guy didn't know that he could trust Jonathan. And so the shirts really do have a purpose, and they're intended to do something, and that is for us to be really recognizable by first-time guests, and it's really impressive. I mean, I've had so many comments on how well the shirts look, and some of us have white sleeves, and we think in the wintertime when it gets cool, we'd rather wear something underneath the shirt to stay warm than putting something over the top of the shirt. If you put something on top of the shirt, then you've kind of diluted a little bit what the meaning of the shirts are. If you can't see them, they're not going to do something good. So if you wear a white shirt, black shirts, whatever underneath, that's fine. But let's try not, if we can keep from it, wearing anything over the top so people know who we are and what we're doing. The shirts were also, one other thing I just thought of, the shirts were also kind of created to give us more of a team feel. Try to unite us all under this one umbrella that we are under. And I think we all have had opportunities to go to the 30-minute touchdown, things like that. This whole group of people, we're all growing closer together. I know we are. I mean, I can look back 2 or 3 years ago and look where we are now, and 90% of us are really good friends. I think we'd do anything for anybody, and that's where we want to be. We want to have a close-knit group of people, and I think the shirts just kind of say, hey, we're all on the same team, we're all the same cast members, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, I said we'd have a gift card after that segment. So who can remember what I said about point number 3? Does anybody remember point number 3?
Number 209, you get your name tag.
All right, Michael. Jackie Lackey. Just a couple points about serving. Again, be excited when you come out and serve. Be excited. Act like you want to be here and serve. It's an opportunity. It's a get to, not a have to. It's a get to. And I think that, like we were talking about earlier, about going back to work on Monday morning and bragging about how much you did, or patting yourself on the back about how many hours you worked. I mean, just the fact when you can walk out of here after your hour, that you know that you've smiled and you've met 52 people and they, shook hands with people. I mean, that should be gratitude enough. I mean, that's right there. That should last you until next weekend. And that's what we want. That's the kind of feeling we want you to walk out of here with. When you've served somebody, just the smile on your face as you go home when you're driving home should be enough to last you until the next Saturday or Sunday. We talked about wearing long sleeves. when we collect offering, this is kind of important. When we collect offerings, usually we work in pairs. Downstairs we'll have someone passing the buckets, someone picking up the bucket. Both sides. Upstairs, we usually have 2 people upstairs. When we pass the buckets, and sometimes on Saturday nights or first celebration on Sunday morning, there's not a full row, and so sometimes you end up just handing the bucket in and getting one here and one there, and then maybe you pass it down that row and your partner picks it up. But when it's sporadic like that, make sure we don't miss anybody. You can kind of have eye contact with your partner to say, okay, you get them, I'll get them, kind of a thing. And upstairs, it's really that way on Saturday nights and first one on Sunday sometimes. So let's just make sure that we don't deprive anyone of them being able to give their tithe or offering to God. Because people get upset when they don't have that opportunity.
Maybe this is just me, but one week recently, there was somebody taking up an offering, and I don't even know who it is, and it doesn't matter. But there was a couple, and the woman had a handbag strapped onto her while she was taking out an offering. And to me, that's kind of a buggy thing.
Okay, good point.
People know if she's going to be tucking their money in, or
Okay, yeah, good point, understood. Yeah, that's something I hadn't really thought about, but it's a very good point. Yeah.
Terry, can you tell us what she said?
Yeah, she was saying that a couple of weeks ago, one of the guest service members was collecting, passing the bucket, and they had their purse strapped to their body. And to someone who's here the first time, they may not understand why that purse is there, or even a current member. So, probably better if you can leave your purse in 209, we'll lock it up in there, or put it behind the children's counter while you're collecting money or something like that. But, coats and purses and things like that probably shouldn't go down the aisle with you as you're collecting money. Remember also that we do have earplugs. There are some people come in, the music is too loud for them. I like loud music, I always have, but some people don't like that. So, if they need earplugs, again, get me or Michael or Denny or Jeannie, and we'll run and get some for them. Maybe we'll bring them in here, let them sit until the music's over, and then let them go back in the auditorium. We'll work out something with them, but make sure that that we have earplugs at the welcome desk up here, and if someone needs them, then we'll make sure they get them. We talked a little bit about avoiding pointing people to different destinations. Again, give me or Michael or Jeannie or Denny or somebody, and we'll hand take them to there. There was 2 or 3 people came in today, first timers. They had children, and they needed to go downstairs to get the children into the kids zone database so they could get a tag. And so we walked them down there to show them and introduce them. And I think that's a much better reaction or a feeling for a new person than if we said, well, you got to go down this hallway, it's about half a mile long, and go down those stairs and make a U-turn, and then if there's no one there, just wait for a minute until someone comes back. I just don't think that's the way we want to do things like that here. What we would like to do, if we have a negative situation, we're going to have a negative situation. Someone's going to complain about something. But when we do have a negative situation, what I'd like for you to do is come and get me or Jeannie or Michael or Denny. We would like to change that negative situation into a positive situation. And we have some things in mind that we're going to try and implement, that if someone does have an unpleasant experience, that we can at least bring that back around and make it a positive instead of a negative. So, I think my point is that Michael and I and Denny and Jeannie, we're always kind of hoovering around here. Find one of us if you need us for whatever the situation is, and let us, kind of make it a positive instead of a negative. Okay? After the first of the year, I'm kind of going through these pretty quickly because I know we're kind of hurting on time here. After the first of the year, we are going to change how we schedule. It used to be if you were on the first weekend of the month, then you'd be on the third weekend. And if you're on the second weekend, you'd be on the fourth weekend. If there was 5 weekends in that month, we were in big trouble because we had no one scheduled to work. So what we're going to try and do after the first of the year, this is what most churches do. Again, Andy Stanley down in Atlanta, this is how they operate with their guest service members. It's simply an every other weekend, an A team and a B team. So if you're working the first week and you're on the A squad, you'll work not next weekend, but the weekend after. Every other weekend all through the year. So could you work 3 weekends in 1 month? Yes, you could. That's only going to happen once or maybe even twice a year, but it can't happen any more than that. And so we'll start that after the first year. A and B will just alternate weekends. A lot easier to remember. And if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, boy, is this my weekend or not? If you think, well, did I work last weekend? I didn't. Well, then this weekend I probably do. You know, it's pretty easy to remember. You don't need a piece of paper necessarily. The last thing is we have been doing here for probably 4 or 5 weeks the 30-minute touchdown back here in the conference room, usually with Denny, sometimes with Jeannie. We have gotten just really good feedback from that. I haven't heard anyone come out of there and say, well, I wish I had gone into the service and listened to Jim. You know, not that Jim doesn't do a good job, but I think that as a team we're a little closer back there. So I just want you to all remember still, any guest service member can go back and participate in the 30-minute touchdown. Generally, we'll do it right after the collection is done, and then it'll continue until 2 or 3 minutes before the celebration's over. Then I usually come back and knock on the door, and we know it's time to come back out and finish up the celebration. But I think that Jeannie may talk about that a little bit more, whether we want to continue that as we go forward into the first of the year. But those of you that have gone back there and sat with Denny or sat with Jeannie, if you have enjoyed that, let them know so we know whether to continue that going through the first of next year or not. In Mark 10:45, the Bible says, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve." And they were talking, of course, about Jesus. And here we are, we're to serve too as volunteers, as cast members, and we've all made the decision to step up and be no longer be served, but to serve others. And we want to serve graciously, and we want to serve faithfully, and we want to serve willingly. And again, it's not a have to. You don't have to be here. We appreciate every one of you guys, because we know that you give up at least 1 hour a week, and many of you give up many more hours than that. But we appreciate you serving here at the Vineyard. I mean, we couldn't pull this off without our volunteers. So we appreciate every one of you. We just want to step it up and be the best in town. I mean, that's really our goal. We want the big win, and the big win, as we define it here at the church, the big win is having someone come to our church for the first time, and they like it so much that they come back next weekend and bring a friend. For us, that's the big win. Having someone come, they like it so much, they have such a good experience, they come back the next weekend, and not only do they come back the next weekend, but they bring a friend. That's the big win for us. We want to create an irresistible environment, which creates an irresistible experience. Good, great. This will help us keep as a forefront the churches that unchurched people love to attend. The Christmas season is just a couple of weeks away. In addition to our regular guests that come every week, I mean, we may have as many as 2,000 people over the Christmas weekend through the 8 celebrations that never have been here before. Well, they don't come very often. They're the unchurched. And those are the people we really want to make the best impression on. This is your home church, and none of us, I don't think, want anyone to come to our home church and leave and not have a good feeling about it. I mean, we want to brag about our own church because we know it's a good church. We've got good band members, we've got a good village team, we have good pastors, we've got good customer service people. I mean, we've got a good church here. And those people that are out there that have not found a home church yet, they don't know anything about Jesus, they don't know anything about God, they don't know anything about the Holy Spirit. We want them here so they can be fed. And, you know, the best way to do that is to put on our best face every weekend, because we never know which weekend it's going to be that someone comes through there and either likes us or dislikes us. We only have one chance to make that impression. And we don't know when it's going to be. They don't have a red hat on coming up the sidewalk. So okay, there's that person. We got to be really careful because here they come. You know, we can't do it. It's not that easy. So we have to be on our best behavior, put our best foot forward, make it an irresistible environment with every person. You know, it's up to each one of us, and we're here to serve and not to be served. And it doesn't matter what door you hand programs out. Be flexible. If Michael asks you to work that door and you're used to working that door, be flexible. Go work that door. It's like 10, 15, 20 minutes. Help him out. Serve graciously. Serve faithfully and serve willingly. Let's remember why we're here volunteering. Let's remember how important it is that each guest has a positive experience here. And let's remember we only get one opportunity to make a good first impression. I really believe that we have the best cast members. Starting next Saturday night, let's rethink how we approach serving here at BCC and make this one of the most irresistible Christmases ever. All right? Thanks, everybody. Katie?
I'm not sure how I can follow all of that. Whew. Thank you, honey. His name is Terry, not Jean's husband, by the way. What do you guys think? You guys on board with creating this irresistible environment? Because you guys are a part of that. You guys are what's going to make that happen. You guys think we can do it? Yes. You guys get the concept that when we create that irresistible environment, that it will equal an irresistible experience for everybody, all of our guests, when they come through the door. I think we can do it. You know, when I look around and I see you guys serving every weekend, day in and day out over the weekend, I think, wow, you guys are awesome. You guys really are awesome. But I think that we can kick it up even further, you know, because not everybody has their best face on. Not everybody is creating that irresistible environment, that irresistible atmosphere when they come. And I think that we can do that every single time that we serve. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that contagious atmosphere. I know that when we had the opportunity to visit one of Andy Stanley's church, and I'll have to tell you, I'm going to call Jackie Lackey out right now, but today she reminded me of when we went to visit that church, because they were so excited about serving that they were clapping their hands and kind of getting loud, and we were like, we wanted to get in there to see what was going on, what the big deal was. And here it was one of their guest services people just having a good time. And Jackie, when I was coming up the steps today, that's what I heard you doing as you were interacting with our guests, and I appreciate that. And I think that would be a great thing that we can learn from you, to be able to create that irresistible environment. So thank you, Jackie. Well, does anybody know that our Christmas Eve 8 celebrations are coming? Is anybody here for Christmas to get signed up for Christmas? Anybody? Yeah. Nobody wants to help at Christmas? No? Yeah. So let's talk just briefly. We're going to wrap up quickly here because Terry didn't leave me a whole lot of time. Thanks, honey.
Thanks, Terry.
So Christmas, a couple things I want you to know before you leave today. If you are not already committed to serving on a certain time, come over here at the wall before you leave today and pick a time, but please don't sign your name at that time unless you know for sure that you could commit to coming to that time. Because at Christmas time, we bump it up even further than our regular weekend, make it even more exciting, if that's even going to be possible now. But we're going to make it more exciting, and so if you sign up to serve, we want you here, and we want you here 45 minutes ahead of time. So be sure to come, because we also create those schedules ahead of time. We'll be creating Christmas name tags, so be sure that we can see your name clearly, or else your name may be misspelled, and we don't want to do that. Just be sure that once you sign up for one, I want to be able to place you where I can best use you. So be flexible when you sign up on the one that has several titles under it. Once you sign up on that, I want to be able to place you where I need you. So I create schedules so that you'll have positions, and I only do this at our big events, that we create those ahead of time. Normally, Michael creates that on the fly. So Christmas, we like to do that ahead of time. So if I've got your name up there, then I'm counting on you being here, and you'll be on that position schedule. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, cool. Let's see. So I said to be flexible. Okay, you guys realize, and Terry already mentioned, that it takes all of you guys every weekend to do what we do. And we have many leaders in place that allows us to keep rolling every weekend. And sometimes these leaders, they're not just working on the weekends, but they also work behind the scenes, like creating the schedule, or placing their order, like Debbie is. There's things that happen behind the scenes, and I can't name everything, but it's not just that you see those leaders here on the weekend. So these leaders, I consider them our unsung heroes. So I just wonder if you could give our leaders an applause right now. And Terry, I won't go through their names again. Terry mentioned all of them. We really appreciate our leaders. And with that, I have something bittersweet that I want to share with you. We have one of our leaders that feels as if that God is nudging him to step down from his leadership role. So this is bittersweet in that we want to bless this person in that, but when shift happens, that means that God is probably up to something, right? That he's going to raise somebody else up. And that's Denny. So Denny, we just want to appreciate you for all the years that you've put in. Denny feels like he's been nudged to step down from his leadership role. This isn't going to happen immediately, but we wanted to give you guys, make you guys be in the know, to keep you guys in the loop. We're all on the same page, so that you'll have a chance to talk with Denny, ask him any questions. He's an open book, so be sure to ask him if you want to know. Ask him at a later time, not right now on camera, but you may not want to share on camera. But Denny, we appreciate you. So thank you for all that you've done. Now, as you may know, Denny has created our schedule. He's the one that's taken our phone calls. He does those things in the middle of the week, on his own time. So what that's going to do, and even though I'm saddened by him stepping down, I know that God's up to something good in his life, and he's going to open up other doors for Denny that God wants Denny to be doing. And I think that Denny is just being obedient to what God's call is on his life. But what that's going to do is, some of you may feel a stirring even tonight in your heart that you want to step into a leadership role. We have several leadership roles that we are in need of, and Denny's will be one of them. There's also the parking team leader role. We need leaders in our bookstore. We need leaders to step up in different areas. So if you feel stirred, like, man, I think God is ready for me to step up and be a leader, then you don't have to tell me tonight, but pray about it first, and then contact me. Or when you see me on the weekend, let me know that you feel a stirring about becoming a leader in one of our areas. I would love that. All right. Okay, some of the things I just listed, some of our rules that are available right now. We definitely need people that are willing to work, not just with kind of a humdrum attitude, but with an excited attitude. In the bookstore, we need campus guides. We have one campus guide right now, and that would be a person that can escort a person throughout the building. If it's not one of our leaders being able to do that, we have campus guides in place that will be able to do that. We also need, mentioned already, a campus guide leader. And like I said, if you feel stirred today by that, then contact me and we can talk further about what the details of that, what that looks like if you're going to be one of those leaders. Well, guys, I don't have anything else. Terry pretty much summed it all. Our new phrase, our motto that we're coining right now is irresistible environment equals irresistible experience. I'm looking forward to that, kicking it off this coming weekend, and then also looking forward to bumping that up for Christmas. For Christmas, if you are signed up for Christmas, he did a really nice job talking about our shirts, and I love everybody wearing our shirts, and it helps our guests, because it's no longer about us, helps them to identify us so that they can ask questions and feel comfortable about being here. But at Christmas, we like to kick it up a notch dress-wise, and t-shirts are not going to be it for us. So I thought that if we could at least wear similar colors, that would help to set us apart as a team. So I'm thinking that all of us could either wear red or white, so shoot your choice. So our teams are either wearing red or white, or maybe it's, Kevin, maybe it's your blouse that's red and white. I don't know. There you go.
Your blouse. My blouse. I'll wear a blouse next week.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Red, I vote for red, white. Hot chocolate, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think you can choose either or, because we'll all have on either red or white. Now, your pants could be black, of course, but I'm thinking our tops could be red or white, or both, yeah. Cool, does anybody have any questions about everything that Terry was able to talk with you about tonight? Okay, well, I really appreciate everybody coming.